This is Tony, the resident geek. You all know me, I hope. I've had a few of you I haven't met yet in person, but only a couple. The rest of you, you see me around at some point, and I've harassed the hell out of you, I'm sure. But here's a little, my little take on the Batman versus Superman movie that I sort of sideways promised a little while ago. It wasn't terrible. I will say that it wasn't terrible. I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe. I'm not even sure, maybe even a 5. Like, it wasn't great. Like, come on, let's be honest here. I'd love to be able to say that it's a fantastic movie. It just blew my mind and all that kind of stuff. And some of the special effects were fantastic. And there's actually some really good parts of it. And I swear, I'm not a hater. Proof of non-hatiness, I actually paid money and bought these. I love Batman, I love Superman. I am definitely a Marvel guy all the way. I mean, that's just my thing. I've always loved Marvel comics and stuff, although I read all the DC stuff. But they're superheroes to me. They're meant to be iconic. They're meant to be avatars of different personality traits and all this other kind of stuff and ideas and all this sort of thing. So they always come off a little bit wooden to me. I mean, the comics are really good, and there's some really fantastic stories out there. Superman's Secret Identity is one of my favorites of all time, regardless of comic book company or anything like that. But I find in the DC line, the Vertigo stuff's a lot better, actually. And if you go way far back in the Helix line and stuff, and you pull up Transmetropolitan and Preacher and Cyberella and all that kind of stuff, it's really innovative and really cool, and the characters had some heart to them. Some of the other characters on DC and their superheroes, like my little guys like to say all the time, they're just not funny. They're just not fun. Like, for the most part, unless they get really campy silly, they're just super, super serious. They just don't seem to know how to balance the two and how to find that happy medium. And unfortunately, that's kind of what happened here in Batman versus Superman. As much as Warner Brothers came out after the fact and has been saying, you know, the movie doesn't really take itself too seriously. It's just meant to be a fun afternoon at the movies. I call bullshit. Have you watched a DC movie in the last 10 years? Their animated features are fantastic. They're head and shoulders above anything that Marvel's doing. They're actually really good. And maybe that's where the characters need to be. Maybe they need to be that strange, grander-than-life kind of scale that they can be in cartoons that they can't be quite in this movie, because in the movies, you're trying to reach a wider audience. You're trying to reach everybody, really, because, I mean, you have to pay a lot of money to make these monster movies, and you're going to need as many people to buy into this as possible to make it worth your while. Otherwise, all these projects that are planned in the DC universe for the next couple of years, they're going to go bye-bye, because they're just not making enough money. And the problem is, you know, for them to come out and say that, and then to announce that they're reshooting a bunch of stuff in Suicide Squad, and then try to come out and say, you know, as the director just did, actually, no, we're actually not trying to make it funnier at all. We're just trying to add more action because we didn't have enough action the first time around. I call bullshit. Action's not the problem. There's a lot of stuff going on in Man of Steel. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Batman movies and in Batman versus Superman. There's some humongous battles happening there, but even those battles don't always make a lot of sense. I mean, the whole reason for Batman to fight Superman, it's weak. It's just really weak. I mean, just about everybody, every comic book guy out there that I've seen, Kevin Smith and a whole bunch of other ones, initially his assessment was right up, bang on. The movie just lacks heart. I mean, these characters are iconic. We're talking about Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. Number one, you don't have to tell me their origin story every single time you make a movie. I'm getting really tired of watching Thomas and Martha Wayne bite it. Like, really, like, I've seen it more than enough times. I know Superman's from Krypton. You can find children in the middle of the Sahara that know who Superman is. I mean, you don't have to explain this every single time. They are iconic. They are larger than life. Your job when you're making this movie, in my opinion, is to make them human. Is to make me care about them. Why should I care about this guy that could destroy the entire planet? Like, there's got to be a reason for me to care about him. Why should I care about this guy that, you know, as far as these comic books are concerned, has more money than God? I mean, why should I care about what Bruce Wayne thinks his mommy and daddy died? Big deal. Lots of people's mommies and daddies died. And you don't see them going out and beating the crap out of people, so why should I care about him? Like, you gotta tell that story, and they're just not doing it. They're not humanizing him. I mean, when Henry Cavill as Clark Kent, gets into the apartment, and Amy Adams as Lois Lane is in the bathtub, and they're talking and stuff, there's no chemistry. None. He gets into the bathtub with Amy Adams, and he's as stone-faced and cold, and, you know, he's pretty on paper. He's a great-looking Superman. He's fantastic. Amy Adams, I love Amy Adams. I think she's gorgeous. And honestly, If the prospect of Amy Adams' mother box doesn't get you excited, maybe you should be at the Batcave. That's just my opinion, you know, like, that would actually be a better storyline than what I've seen here. Maybe the fight between Batman and Superman is a result of the sexual tension between them. They just want each other so badly. They want to beat each other up. I don't know. I mean, that just sounds way better to me than Batman, like Bruce Wayne is pissed off because he saw Superman defending the planet, fighting against these super powerful aliens, and there happened to be a lot of collateral damage, as what happened when superpowered beings are involved, and he gets mad at him. And he wants to kill him. And why does he stop killing him? There are some spoilers coming up. You might want to stop this right now if you don't want to hear them. Are you gone? Did you turn it off? Because I'm going to tell you. Batman stops in the middle of the homicide of Superman. The man he thinks could destroy the entire planet because he says, "Save Martha." And Martha happens to be his mother's name. Now, who knew for all these years that Batman's safe word was Martha? The Joker would kill for that information. I mean, that would be fantastic. Anytime Batman's beating on you, all you gotta do is say, "Martha!" And he'll stop. But, you know, considering that Superman showed up at the beginning of the fight, if I'm not mistaken, I've only seen the movie once, so correct me if I'm wrong. But when he shows up at the beginning of that fight to talk to Batman, he refers to him as Bruce. Why is he surprised that he knows what his mother's name is? He knows that he's Bruce Wayne. Duh. Like, kill the bastard if that's what you want to do. Feel free, but at least do something. Like, and then Amy Adams shows up and she throws away the spear, but then she gets it in her head that she should go get the spear because not even knowing that Doomsday exists and they actually need the spear. So she decides to go in just so she can conveniently be trapped underwater and have Superman save her, which is freakishly weird to me that he knows exactly when Lois Lane is in trouble, but he can't find his mother in Gotham City across the river. I call bullshit. But he knows to fly to the desert to save Lois. Like, this dude's got some issues. I'm just saying, he's got some mommy issues, he's got some girlfriend issues, he's got some shit, but he's not showing any of it. I mean, she liked Affleck as Batman. He did a good job. I don't like the way he was written. Batman doesn't kill people for the most part. I mean, like, stuff happens and everything, but he's killed at least 35 people that I can count. I know some of them are dream sequences and stuff, but this is just a fanboy jerking off making this movie at this point, right? Because he just wants Batman to kill people because he's big and tough and stuff. And it's like, there's no storytelling going on here. It's just stupid. And you know what, honestly, the best thing about it was Wonder Woman. And she had the smallest part, but you know what? Her characterization was perfect. She played it, even as Diana, she played it perfectly. And she jumped into battle because she was just wanting to fight. She just wanted to have some fun and rough it up. And she actually laughed in the middle of the fight because she was having fun. Because in stressful moments, that's what normal people do. They kind of make light of things. They don't get everything like super serious all the time, which is the big problem with the DC movies. I don't expect them to be like Marvel movies. I don't even expect them to be like the Marvel TV shows. I just expect them to tell a good story and have a good movie and make sense as a movie. Like, this thing didn't make any sense if you don't know who the new gods are. If you don't know who Darkseid is. If you don't know where Apocalypse is. If you hadn't read any of that Kirby stuff from way back when Luthor starts talking about the gods coming from heavens and all this kind of stuff, he's not talking about Superman. Superman is the false god. The true god is Darkseid and the new gods of Apocalypse. That's who he's waiting for. That's who he's talking to. I mean, yeah. Most comic book people don't even know that stuff. That's just weirdos like me that kind of know that stuff, and I only know this much of it. So, I mean, how are the rest of the movie-going public supposed to know all this kind of stuff? It just doesn't work as a movie. I mean, some stuff was great. A lot of the effects were fantastic. How they ended up bringing Apocalypse to this abandoned shipyard or docks or whatever, that's another load of BS. Just to kind of counterbalance the fact that Superman destroyed Metropolis and all this other kind of stuff. And it's just kind of disappointing. It really is. I mean, you feel free to disagree with me if you want. By all means, tell me down below. Send me an email. Call me. Tell me I'm an idiot if you want. All that kind of stuff. Tell me how absolutely fantastic Batman versus Superman was and how amazing Justice League is going to be and how fantastic Suicide Squad is going to be once they do the studio gets involved and does their re-edits and all that kind of stuff. And you absolutely, please feel free to feel what you want and tell me what you want. But in all honesty, you're wrong.